There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, everyone. The Yonkō Table is back in session on its second voyage for episode 2. And what better way to kick us off than the hit Disney film that graced us this past holiday season with Encanto. That is Disney's 60th animated Disney project. And we are here to stand the movie. No objections whatsoever. Absolutely no dissenting opinions at this table today. But as always, before we get into it, with me as always is fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop. Grandmaster, I see you're standing Encanto with your background.
I stand Felix and Peppa. I stand Encanto. Yes, I do. Just a lot of good things about this movie. And I will admit, I didn't realize them all until my second watch of the movie. But I'm glad this movie exists. And I'm glad, we're here to cover it. Because, one, we're late to the show. We are late. We should have been talked about this. So I'm glad we're here.
I think we let it simmer. We needed to let it simmer in people's minds.
It didn't simmer. It blew up in people's minds. We missed that little simmer. That simmer was that first drop on Disney Plus, and now, boom.
But
we're here. We're here. Right.
We are here. And who else is here with us but a new Supernova joining the table? Our first new Supernova of season 2, Captian Falcon.
Yes, long time coming onto the Yonkō Table. I'm usually behind the scenes, so.
Oh, right. Remember her actual first appearance was way back when we did
oh gosh,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Remember?
Oh God, that's right.
We were rudely interrupted by right.
I'm redeeming myself today.
What better way? The perfect film to do it with.
Excited to be here. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for being here. Now, this week, rounding off the table, we got Supernovas coming up with. All right, let's get into it. Encanto. What do we think overall? You know what? Kame Chris, I'm gonna give the floor to you, man. What did you think of Encanto?
Okay, here we go. So pretty much, I thought it was a cute movie. I really did think it was a cute movie. Like, there was a lot of parts of it. I was like, oh, this is like a really, I guess you can say like coming of age, I guess, like movie for a lot of like younger Latino people. But overall with the music just didn't hit me. I'm sorry. The music did not hit. I'm sorry. This was not it. I wish that it was a bit more fluid. But aside from the music that I would raise my eyebrows every time I start hearing, it surprised me when music started. I said, "Oh, music started." But when it wasn't music, it was a cute movie. I enjoyed when they weren't singing. But yeah, everything else was okay. I give it, overall like C+,
Whoa!
Ooh, okay. I mean, well, for a musical movie, that's important for the music to hit,
Exactly.
If you're not into the music, especially with a Disney movie, I mean, like it's a problem.
That's my biggest problem. It's like it's supposed to be a musical movie, and it just didn't hit me like it should have.
What about you, Grandmaster? I see you itching back there.
Coming into the movie, I guess my biggest expectation probably was the music as well. And I could probably say upon my initial watch, I wasn't necessarily moved by the music as a whole.
Was it because Lin-Manuel was, backing the project? Is that
Yes.
the expectation part? Okay.
Yes, with the name Lin-Manuel, and we all know Lin-Manuel, his track record in the Heights, Hamilton, and with Disney projects, he did Moana, and he did this, and he'll be coming up.
Oh, he did do Moana?
He did all of Moana. Yes.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Right.
Moana.
And if you like
Moana
and you like the music in Moana, then the bar is set. I left definitely not overtly satisfied with the music. There were some bright spots, which we'll talk about for sure, but that was my biggest expectation. Now, story-wise, I think I left out of this movie. I was like, man, this is a really good story. And I like how Disney, switched it up. They didn't do the traditional thing. And that was my biggest takeaway. But so, initially I didn't like that. That was my biggest takeaway because I'm a music lover. I love Disney music, and I wanted that to be the thing I walk away with. Upon my second watch, I love every bit of the music in this movie. Every bit
single one. Okay.
Every single one. I found a newfound appreciation. I think it was in the lyricism and how it matched to the story that I find this deeper appreciation. So now, after watching the movie probably 6 times now, I can gladly say 6 times already. 6 times. 6 times. I can gladly say this movie is great. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's not without critique, but I love it.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So would you say, like, let's say you hear a song and you're like, and it takes you a few listens to like get into it. Would you say it's a good song because it took so many times to get into it, or is it a bad song because you didn't like it initially? Like, I know like a lot of people like listen to like some albums and the first time they're like, I don't really like it, and then once you hear it on the radio 1,000 times, you're like, maybe it is catchy. Like maybe I do like it. But me, I think if the first initial listens, it's not like hitting. It's not like, oh, I really love this song. Like this is a really really good song. To me, I think it's like to be critical to say that it's probably not a good song because after 100 more listens, you're like, okay, maybe it's not that good. Maybe I just like kind of was like in the moment for it, like during that time period I was watching it or listening to that song over and over again. Like I listened to the soundtrack again, and yeah, my opinion still stands. Like it didn't hit like it should have, and I'm a little bit, I can say, disappointed as far as the culture that they used and how what they could have done with the music would have been like huge.
We're about to get into this later.
Oh, okay, later.
Yeah, no, it's coming. But to answer your question, I will say this: when I come into a movie or a musical, I need to be hit by like the music, not necessarily the lyrics first. If I'm not swayed by the melody and the instrumentals, I'm not going to be moved at first. That's why I said upon my second watch, that's when I really connected to the lyrics of it all. Because during your first watch, it's really hard to keep up with the lyrics.
You're trying to figure out what to grasp onto.
Exactly. And each song has its own significant identity, but upon that initial watch, it's kind of hard to find that identity. And for example, Under the Sea, they say that freaking line like throughout the whole entire song of Under the Sea. It's very easy to catch on. While over here in Encanto, now I am saying a hurricane and jacarandas, and like I would never get that. I never got that on my first watch at all. So it did take a couple of listens to really appreciate. But yeah, I got to be hit with the musicality and the instruments first before I really deep get into the music. But that's why this movie is good, because it has witty lyricism and clever lyrics to really back up why these songs are so good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say that I really liked how this film was not giving me Disney, what Disney usually does. I actually don't like Moana.
Oh,
I really don't.
Oh no!
I feel
Keep it down.
What are you
Keep it
doing?
down.
like that's that's like the expectation, and like that's what you want. But I feel Moana's very Disney. And it's what we expect Disney to be, and that this one just kind of shifts from everything we know about Disney and their animated films and what their songs are gonna sound like and look like, and the storyline. Everything about this movie is just shifting and different, and that's what I really loved.
That was great. That was great.
No, that was.
The
Oh,
thing
that was
keeps
disappearing.
moving, yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
No, I definitely agree that this is very I guess anti-Disney in a way. Like it breaks the mold, you know, especially with its theme of you know, being in a Colombian setting and really focusing on family. There's no like princesses, there's no like damsel in distress. And I think that's a breath of fresh air. I can see why, I guess, going into looking at Moana from that lens, you're like, oh, it's just another Disney movie, you know? But but with this one, I mean, there's really no villain in Encanto. The most you could possibly say is Abuela.
I was
But
gonna say, yeah.
is
they
she
definitely made
really
her
a villain though?
She's not a villain, but she is the antagonist or the
Yeah.
physical or even, you know, an intrinsic obstacle
And I
throughout
didn't
the
like
film.
that. I didn't like that.
Ooh,
You did not like it.
I didn't like that because I didn't think she like I think they highlighted her to be an antagonist, but I didn't think she was an antagonist. I think she had a lot of reasonings for what she was doing. Like
yeah.
Like it all
course.
made sense, but I feel like kids watching it are gonna be like, "Oh, well, that's mean," you know. Like I didn't, you know, like I didn't like
Oh my
that.
god. I will say, before I sat down and watched the movie completely, I did see clips of because you know I have like little cousins that watch this movie too, and I would like tune in like randomly throughout the movie, and it would be just random scenes where Abuela is talking to the main protagonist, Maribel, right?
Mirabel. You're
Mirabel.
the worst
And-
with remembering these names.
And she, forgive me. I saw a scene where like she's just like saying Mirabel, what are you doing? And I'm like, God, why are you so mean? Well, but like those were scenes out of context though. Like I wasn't like watching the movie. I just tuned in like for 5 seconds and I'm like, wow, that old lady is mean. All right, I guess I gotta watch it soon. But I could see why I guess little kids will just see their the grandmas just being so mean to the granddaughter. But I guess what like the story, what do we think of the story overall? I know we have some thoughts on the music already, but do we like I guess the overall theme of like family and dealing with trauma? Like what do you guys think about that?
I really like how I like the story. I like how relatable it is, especially for like young Latinas who that's kind of like our culture. Abuela needs, when you go over to Abuela's house, you have to act a certain way. You have to like be perfect and do everything. And just that expectations and pressures and all of that, and how, you know, it affects everybody in the family. So it affects Pepa and, you know, trying to keep clear skies and, you know, reach the expectations of Abuela. I really liked how that was like highlighted in the film, because that is something that happens and it's a normal thing, you know? So.
Yeah, it was very grounded in that sense. And, you know, you could, just because you're an antagonist doesn't mean you don't have like a side of redemption.
Doesn't mean you're evil.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're evil. That's why I said antagonist. A villain is straight up evil. Abuela is not evil. It's a layered story, you know.
Oh, like what?
Like an onion. Whatever.
I agree. I totally agree.
Right. So when you peel back the layers of Abuela, you see why she is the way she is. She went through a traumatic experience of losing her home, losing her husband, shoot, she could have lost her own life with her children, and a miracle happened, something that probably would never happen again. So it's understand why she's so protective of the family. But then again, she lost herself, and you see that in those flashback scenes during Dos Uruguitas. You see
My
that
favorite song of the film.
it's a good song.
One of the good ones.
Right. You see that how she becomes more withdrawn from the family and more about, the gift, their gifts versus themselves being the gift. A person was born, a family member was born. That should be the most important thing, not whether or not how they serve your family, So, antagonist just means she was on the opposite side of Mirabel, and the story did a really good job at really just setting up Mirabel as, she's the the outside looking in, Of course she saw all the cracks. Once she got glasses, she had the big old glasses, so she could see better than all of them. So of course she's the one who sees the cracks.
Symbolism.
Right, there's a lot of symbolism going on.
And her name is Mirabel Mira.
Right. And you know what?
Layers.
And and the more we talk about it, the more I think about it, that the house is, their miracle personified. The house was starting to recognize Abuela, missing the mark and losing, her sight on what was really important. That is why the house was like, you don't get no gift. You are the gift. You're a gift. You're gonna fix this family, because if you don't fix this family, I'm gonna fucking die.
I interpreted
my language.
I interpreted the house and Mirabel a little differently. Ooh. I thought, like, in the very ending, I remember watching it, and I was like, with the people I was watching it, and I was like, is her gift the house? Is she the house? Like, I kept asking that, no one could really answer. I was like, she seems like the house, because anytime she was like, the abuela was like doing her wrong, I guess you can say, like, the house started cracking every time. And then the vision that Bruno had, it was her in front of the house. So I'm like, so that, like, she's the whole house, because that's why she didn't get a door, because the whole house is hers. So you go to every room's hers. Like, it all falls on her at the end. That's what it made it seem like, but I was like, maybe I'm like looking at it a little too.
I think that's a different interpretation.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great interpretation.
I think you could view it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because like what Mirabel, she doesn't really, because I thought it was gonna be one of those Disney movies where she resolves all the family's issues, and then by the end of the movie, she's gonna get her own gift.
Yeah,
right?
I thought so too.
But she doesn't. She doesn't. I mean, from what I remember, yeah, she doesn't get a gift at the end of the movie. Well, I guess since we're on the topic of gifts, what did you guys think about the gifts of all the other characters? Because I feel like there were some of the siblings or uncles or tias that they shined more than some of the other ones. So, like, for example, Luisa gets her own number. I love Surface Pressure. That's one of the better songs in the movie. Don't you dare, Kame Chris.
I don't like that.
Keep my mouth closed.
Oh God, here we go.
Wait, what'd you say?
That is the one song that I don't like from the film. Is that song.
Okay, seriously, when I heard that song, I think that's when I made my final opinion. I said, the music here.
That was that's the third song in the movie.
I mean, okay, I think, like, the melody and all of that I don't like. The lyricism and what it's saying is important. As the oldest sister and the pressure and stuff, I like that. But the song itself was
I jive with both. I go with both. I can rock them both. I have that crap blasting on the way to work.
Oh my god.
On the way back. It's a great song.
They need to rework it. But anyway, back to gifts.
But see, well, go ahead, Grandmaster.
Well, speaking about Luisa and her gift, or as far as like the gifts overall,
just the gifts overall, yeah.
Who gets more shine. Well, I think it served the purpose of that her sisters gifts were like in direct contrast to Mirabel. You know, Luisa's strong and, you know, she's carrying the weight because Isabella is the oldest. She's actually the oldest.
Yeah.
And that's why she's off to go get married. Because, you know, it's kind of like
Isabella's the oldest.
Isabella and Dolores are the oldest of the cousins.
Wait, Isabella's a cousin?
No.
No,
I
she's
mean,
your sister.
I'm just talking about as the kids, all the kids.
Oh, okay.
So Isabella and Dolores are the eldest.
Wait, no, Luisa's the oldest.
That's what I thought. Luisa's the oldest, right?
No, I looked it up too. Isabella is older. Isabella is 21. Luisa is 19. That's why Isabella is going to get married. That's why
I swear she says she's the oldest sister in the song.
But no,
In
in
the
the song, this is
song,
what she
yeah.
says. In the family madrigal, she says, my older my cousin Dolores getting pen drop because Manila shapeshifts. Tony gets his day. My older sisters, Isabella and Luisa. See,
That sounds
That
so
doesn't
bad.
say anything.
it does not sound bad. Oh my god.
I thought you were going somewhere with
Yes,
that.
it-
So
Listen,
Just because she named them like that doesn't mean
no,
Isabella's
you can look it up. Disney confirmed
Okay,
it.
okay. All right.
Isabella's, well, that's why she's being the one getting married, because now it's her
But
job.
doesn't she say give it to your sister? Your sister's older.
She's older than Mirabel.
Oh.
Yeah.
It doesn't say your sister's oldest, I guess.
older.
Oh, I
sister, not
guess.
older.
Right.
Oldest.
Right.
Okay. Well,
But see, that's the thing. That's why it's Isabella's job. I mean, oh gosh, we're talking about gifts. Her flowers, cool. She can make flowers. She's poison ivy of Encanto.
Ooh.
It was amazing.
her gift is beautiful.
No,
Yeah.
it's definitely cool. No, it was cool. It was
Oh,
really,
yeah.
it was really cool.
I'm sorry, Luisa is 19.
Hi. I mean, I don't
She's
mean
the
to
middle
laugh
child.
at you.
Yeah,
It's from
whatever.
Disney Wiki.
Well,
It's-
damn. What a terrible demeaning
No,
gesture
no,
towards
no.
a fellow.
No, no.
Ah, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
ages wrong.
Oh my gosh. Yes, the flowers is cool. Luisa's strength is cool. I don't know if they needed to make her so bulky, but I'm glad, because funny enough, when I watched this with my students, someone made a poor joke and I was like, what, women can't be strong and muscular? What are you trying to say? And
A
like,
valid teaching moment.
right, it was a very good teaching moment. But yes, you know, like the cousins probably got, you know, more of the short end of the gift display. Like, you know,
Some of them have like voices, and I'm really annoyed that they didn't get like their own song. Like Dolores's and what's the one that shapeshifts?
Camilo.
Camilo. I think their
Camilo.
bits in We Don't Talk About Bruno are like the best parts in that
Yes.
song. And that's because they can carry notes. And I'm like, why the hell didn't you guys give them their own song? No, they did really good.
No, they did. But that's the thing. Yeah, We Don't Talk About Bruno was that whole family's like song. They, instead of getting an individual song, they all were part of that song, except for Antonio, who
Mhm,
also got a really short end of the stick too.
mhm.
Well, you seem like you're itching to say something.
No.
Oh, I feel like I'm rambling. The gifts are cool. Some of the gifts I'm like, Camilo's shapeshift. I don't know how that really
How does that help the
help the
village?
town,
How did-
right?
Well, no, it helps because that, you know, the scene where he transforms to the mom.
To the
so
yes,
he
that one was
could
good.
Take care of the baby and she could rest.
Yes,
You know,
that one was good.
that
That
one was good, but I mean, I don't know. What
it
else.
seems he's like the Loki of the family. He's gonna be the
Oh,
like the prankster. But that's what she said too. His job is to make people laugh. Like he helps the
okay.
town by keeping people joyous, you know. Dolores, I don't know how she can really help hearing a pin drop. I don't know. Maybe if a kid gets lost.
Well, she knew that Isabella's, what's his name, it was gonna propose
Mariano.
because she hears everything. So
oh,
was
that's
helpful.
why they knew. Oh,
yeah, she was like,
Yeah, she was
he's
like,
gonna propose tomorrow.
he
He,
wants-
wants 5 kids. Or
Yeah.
something.
I thought. Oh wow, I thought it was like an arranged thing. I was like, oh, okay, no, that makes sense. She would have known.
What was basically arranged, you know.
Well, yeah.
Abuela wants what's best for the family. She's like, he will make a good husband for Casa
Yeah.
Madrigal.
Right.
Like, get off your high horse.
Which is a real thing.
Right.
You know, abuelas are always like, he's nice. Why don't you get with him? He's, you know.
Good for the family.
He's good,
It's
for,
good
the
for
family.
the family. He's a doctor.
He's a
Oh.
doctor.
Which we don't know anything about Mariano, except
Yeah.
he's a hunk.
He's
a hunk.
I thought he was
That's it.
gonna be like one of those like, you know, dick characters, you know, like a Gaston, right? From, like,
Right.
Beauty and the Beast.
They definitely set him up to be in the beginning. Yes.
Right, but no, he's a pretty decent guy.
He's just he has a heart full of
I
love.
think it's kind of funny that they gave him like the stereotypical Latin man full of love and whatever. I think
I feel like he's one of those missed opportunities. I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities in this movie, but I feel like that was one of them. I feel like they could have expanded on that relationship a little bit more, because the way they like set it up, you would expect him to like show up, or there'd be like some wedding at the end, or like something like kind of like big, but it was just like kind of lackluster. Yeah,
I think that's what they were trying to do, in my opinion, though, is just not focus on like a relationship and like a wedding at the end and all of that, because the focus is the relationship between Abuela and Mirabel. So I feel they did that. So, you know, there's always some type of love story in every Disney movie. And there really wasn't in this one, other than Dolores got him at the end, which was cool.
See, I feel this movie leaves a lot of room for like a series to follow. I mean, not necessarily.
I would watch a series.
Well, it's not like
a sequel series.
It's
Is
not.
that what
Yeah,
it is?
it's not no like deep series. It's just like, you know, like you said, there's a lot of unexplored things here. Like he told me the man of my dreams betrothed to another. Like we don't know anything about maybe there was a rivalry between Dolores and Isabella from their childhood. You know, they didn't explore that because, you know, it was Mirabel's story. You know, maybe again, like there's a whole
opportunity
family.
to explore other characters.
There's a whole family of, because again, that's what the movie reveals too, is that not only is Abuela pressuring Mirabel to like, you know, she doesn't have a gift, so she's basically like, just don't do anything because you're gonna mess it up. She puts pressure on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you want to do a prequel series or whatever, a sequel series, maybe maybe it could be about making amends, because, you know, like Peppa, you know, she was always trying to control Peppa's emotions.
I think it would be interesting to see like an Encanto 2 where you see the three, Bruno, Peppa, and Mirabel's mom growing up.
Julieta.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that
Yes.
would be a cool story.
I think that'd be a great story, right?
Mhm.
Because we have no idea how. We know a trickle effect. Abuela became worse and worse throughout the years, but we don't know how they are the direct follow-up to the tragedy
Mhm.
that she suffered, and how did that, you know, play out for them? How did the husbands, you know, play out? You know, Agustin and Felix.
How do you know? I don't even know.
I've
their
watched
names.
it 6 times.
You better know the
I
names
watched-
by this point.
Right.
So all of them.
But you know,
But I
Mirabel's,
barely know.
Agustin, her dad, you know, he was saying it was difficult for them when they first married into the family because they were the outsiders. They didn't have any gift. It was difficult for them to be around the exceptional when they were unexceptional. But you see, that doesn't like really change their character in this film. So again, that could be explored too, you know. If anything, you know, I like Agustin. He's hilarious.
Augustine's the guy that's getting stung.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Funny.
Yes.
He's
He's
funny. I
like,
like him.
there were bees
Everywhere.
everywhere.
I like, and if you kind of pay attention, you can see how the two husbands kind of deviate from what is expected of them. Felix is talking about Bruno to Mirabel, and that's like a no, like, you know, and he's the one that initiates it. She obviously, you know, starts talking about him, but then Agustin too, he is the first one to stand up for Mirabel.
Yes. Big.
And then the mom follows. So, you know.
Right. And there was like little like breadcrumbs of that he would stand up,
Mhm.
because you know, like the whole in the beginning of the movie, they're like, you know, you're too hard on yourself, Mirabelle. You know, you have nothing to prove to anybody, and then you know you see it trickle throughout the movie, and then he finally, he's like, I was doing this for my daughter. You know,
he stood up for her.
there's a lot to see. Short time with these characters, but I think all the characters are great.
Yeah.
Speaking on what you were saying about, you know, just like Felix and Agustin, see, we let this simmer for too long. I get a lot. I've been seeing a lot of people on TikTok talk about them and how they break the toxic masculinity role too. You know, they are not the domineering husbands.
Mhm.
They are, you know, Felix, it probably is showcased more, you know, like during, we don't talk about Bruno. He's ready to, you know.
He's ready to like let her lead.
Right.
And that's, you know, with machismo and all of that, like the woman is usually silent and she's the one at home cooking, doing everything and whatnot. And he doesn't take the lead. And I liked that aspect of it. He's just like, you tell the story, baby.
You even hear it in the song, like
right.
To, like,
And
sing
so
it. Thunder.
Thunder.
Right, he's playing the support in the song, right? Like
Right.
she's the lead part, and he's coming in with the harmonies, and then Agustin, he's just like accepting that his wife is super exceptional. You know, he's like, baby, can you take care of me? Like, you know, I think all the characters are really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Real quick, last thing about Felix, I'm gonna get off of Felix.
Felix is a great character. You
he
can stay on him
loves
as long as
Felix.
you want.
Well, he's a good. They're both great father figures. But one thing, again, I wish I could cite the people who I heard this from on TikTok, but it's a really good point they mentioned, is that Felix leads by example for his sons, Antonio and Camilo. They're very much tending and catering
Mhm.
to women without having been asked or being told,
Mhm.
and you know, they find joy and you know, satisfaction when they accomplish. So Antonio, when he warms up Abuela's seat with the whatever kind of animal that was,
you can definitely see aspects like that. And then Camilo, when he's tending to his mother and
right,
calming her down and whatever. So
right.
I never really noticed that.
Well, even when Antonio did the warm-up seat, apparently Felix is in the back going like thumbs up, like good job.
Actually, I didn't notice that, but now, because I thought about this from a completely different perspective.
Ooh, go ahead.
I wish Kenneth was here, honestly, because he brought it up. He did bring it up, and
What did he say?
So he was talking about mestizaje. So I don't know if you know about, like, I don't know if y'all did, like, if you know anything about that. It's like another, it's like you can say it's just the mixing of like family, but it's the culture behind it. And I kind of like there's two sides to this. So I do like that they did kind of like make like demasculate them, but I don't like how they demasculated them, only because they are the darker characters in the whole movie. And I usually, and as like, you know, like knowing about Afro-Latino culture and knowing about you know, just how like everything's depicted, I did notice, I was like, okay, why are they making them cater to these, like, you know, fair-skinned women in this? And why didn't they do it to the darker women a little bit more? Like, why it was, I definitely picked up on that. And so like what's the dude? I forget the names already. The guy
Felix?
that no, the machismo guy, the guy at the beginning.
Mariano.
Yeah. And they made him pretty like you know, I would say masculine, or made him look as just like I guess that manly like part in the movie. Like he was the hunk. You literally said like he was the hunk, and they don't really give that to Felix. You know, I like very much picked up on that really quickly. And when Kenneth brought it up in the group chat, I was like, maybe he's gonna join and maybe he'll talk about it, and I'll just like interject. But especially in Colombia, they do that where the darker do live a little differently or looked at it a little differently. Like my dad's actually Colombia, like Afro-Colombian, so it's I picked up on it, like I guess in a perspective that I don't like when certain like male figures in movies and stuff only cater to women like that, when in the past that's not always the case. Like there's usually two separate sides of the story. Like the man deals with the man stuff, and that's not to say like, oh yeah, men do with men stuff, women do women stuff, but the way that they didn't like clarify, I guess you can say, like they didn't like clarify like the like, oh like they are caring but they're still like the men of the family, like it wasn't, I guess, like with the theme of like the whole house, Encanto, like the house and stuff, like I feel like everyone's gifts had a role, and I feel like the ones that the one like the Felix and his sons like catering to all the women, I feel like their gifts didn't match. I guess I'm like finding it hard to articulate, but I guess the gifts didn't match what I guess what y'all are saying as far as like how they're catering, like shape shifting and the controlling animals seemed a little bit weak compared to we got Miss Poison Ivy and someone that's got super strength, and we have someone else that controls the weather. Like it just didn't sit right with me, I guess you can say. Like I'm like, damn, why they did them like that? Like why does little boy only, like, why he only talks to animals? Like that's cool, but I mean, they could have done something crazy, like he controlled, like, I don't know, like nature. I have no idea. Like it could have been done a lot differently, in my opinion. But yeah, I definitely saw it from a different perspective. And it's funny because the people I was watching with, they're Puerto Rican. So like they looked at it, I guess you can say, maybe from you guys' perspective, when I brought it up, they're like, I didn't even think about it like that. And I was like, you probably won't. Like you probably have to like, be a different type of person and like see things like that. But I definitely, and Disney does this a lot, where they like they've done it in the past and they're starting to slip again, where they start to like give certain characters or like races a different like type of role. Like even with Princess and the Frog, don't like the frog thing, whatever. Like like I have my own little opinions. I don't like certain movies how certain animals are looked at to be the black characters, even though whatever. Like they do this all the time, and I think this is another example of it. And but I do like how they got their hair right.
They did get their hair right.
Yes, they did. I did like that. I think Disney's learning a little bit from, at a slower pace than how we would want them to. But I think they're learning from a lot of the mistakes that either they made themselves or just people in Hollywood make when it comes to movies like this. Like you mentioned with Princess and the Frog, she's the first, was it Princess Tiana?
Yeah.
Tiana, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, first African American princess, and she's a frog for 80% of the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, we're doing this. And then there was that recent one with the
giant panda.
The giant.
Oh, that's the new one that comes out with that.
I wasn't even thinking of that one. I was thinking of the one with Will Smith and Tom Holland.
Oh, the Spies in Disguise. What a terrible title.
Oh, Spies in Disguise.
He turns into a pigeon. Or even Soul. Yeah.
I have not seen Soul yet, but I've heard similar criticism for Soul.
Yeah, Soul's whole thing is Tina Fey voices Jamie Foxx's character for a good portion of the film. So the black man is voiced by a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird. It's really
wow.
Soul is a really strange film.
I still need to watch it.
Disney is always on one with this stuff. Like I talk about it all the time. That's it, man. Disney swears.
I feel like they're slowly improving. They're at least making some effort.
So slow.
At least with this movie, though.
Yes,
like
with this movie,
they corrected because I half expected with a movie by the name of Encanto, I expected everyone to be the same shade of color in the entire movie. The same shade of brown
here,
everywhere.
Same here.
But they didn't do that.
They nailed it.
They nailed it. You see everything. You see practically every shade imaginable, at least from what I could see. Because I was like, okay, do they have this shade though? And then I would see a character right there. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they have him or her.
And they would, and I think Pepa and Felix's family is the perfect example of, because that's a real thing, a heterogeneous, like skin tone family, where like Pepa is like obviously like pale and whatnot. Felix is black, and only Antonio looks as the same complexion as Felix, and then Camilo and Dolores are like a blend between the two, but they're not even the same shade. And that was a big thing going in. I remember too was would they nail like the Afro-Latino representation?
Yeah, that's what I was when I heard that this movie was in Colombia. I was like, all right, well,
careful.
Let's see.
You got one job.
You got one job. It's really simple.
Come on now.
Yeah, but I think they nailed the shades. I was like, oh, okay.
right. And I'm glad they had, they weren't just the secondary characters. But Kame Chris, to kind of your point about, the whole, I see what you're saying as far as having them, the darker skin characters cater to the more fairer skin. But I will say this as a point to this movie though, this movie was really female led. Like all the leads are, all the dominant lead roles are female.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a matriarch too, versus a patriarch at the top. I think that's points to Disney, because it's usually only one female lead, and they're usually matched with a male lead.
Mm-hmm.
There is no male counterpart in this one. It's Mirabel's story, it's Abuela's trauma, and then
she doesn't have a love interest.
No love interest. And it's Mirabel interacting really with the other females other than Bruno. I
guess Bruno's the closest one you could say that maybe tries to match.
I was gonna say that. Yeah. But I wish they would, I don't want to say like go a feminist route, but more so just maybe we could have done without male characters so much. Like maybe I was, sometimes I expect like there not to be any matching, like any male characters. Like this one could have been good with just the like if this was just like mainly females, like if they didn't bring the males in maybe for like 10 seconds or like not at all, and like they just be names that you just know, or like they just be around, I probably would have enjoyed it. And that's only because we still, like, I still feel like they still kind of matched with the men, because you have like kind of some men in the family, and then you got the, like other male characters in the movie too. But I would say like the matching, why even like keep bringing in male characters? I feel like they could go really far with just having like female characters play in a movie. And I know the family aspect, you got to have like all sexes in there. Like it just won't be a real family. But I mean, for what the story is, how like, and this isn't, I feel like in every community where like daughters and mothers usually kind of clash. Either they clash or they're best friends. And that goes with the grandmas too. And I feel like they could have definitely just went that route, and I would have been completely okay with it. Like just talking about like the relationship between the grandma and the daughter and the granddaughters and the daughters, like, and just tell that story. But like if they do bring up any husbands or like brothers or male cousins, like it could be brief. But I would say I would have liked I want Disney, I guess you could say I want Disney to do like a female movie. I think that's what like we really should get, like no males. I like just to see from, I guess just a female perspective. Even like Moana, like I'm like, damn, like it's always some dude that's like gotta come in and like
Moana's a perfect example of the dude tragonist being, she needed a male counterpart,
right?
Which she didn't, but
But it's Dwayne Johnson.
Whatever.
Everything.
I mean, Actually, I noticed that we're kind of fitting the theme of we're not supposed to talk about him, so we haven't talked about him. Very fitting. I like it. What about Bruno? What are y'all's opinions on Bruno? I mean, I think he's like the MacGuffin in a way of the family, right? Because Mirabel, she has to find Bruno and convince him to return to the family because she thinks that he is the solution to what she's seeing with the house, because the casita, it's falling apart. She's seeing the cracks and she doesn't know why. She doesn't know what's leading to it. But once she learns what Bruno's gift is, which is like seeing into the future, that's when she goes on this quest inside of the house to search for the MacGuffin, to search for Bruno, to find those answers. What did you guys think of Bruno? I feel like the family kind of shit talked him in a lot of ways, because in the song We Don't Talk About Bruno, right? Peppa is saying Bruno's coming in with the mischievous grin as if he's purposely doing this and wanting to cause problems for everyone. But then when you meet Bruno, it's like, did this guy really come in like that? I
love Bruno.
I love Bruno too.
I
my
love
favorite
the
character.
whole concept of we don't talk about Bruno, because it's always like that in these in families. You know, there's that one person that like drama happens and we don't know what happened and whatnot. Just don't say anything. I'm gonna tell you later what I heard. You know, type. You know, cousins talking. Oh, I heard Thea did this and whatnot. That's why they don't talk.
Yeah.
I am very much Bruno.
You know,
You're the Bruno.
Oh, I'm so Bruno. Y'all don't even understand. When Bruno came up, I was me and my friends, they were like, you know, you're so Bruno. Your family. I'm like, I love Bruno. I get Bruno so much. Just I hate when people give you like they give you an image and that's not who you are at all. Mm-hmm. And that's only because of the things you do, maybe I guess like taboo to them, or like they don't want to like get into it because they look at it as like wicked or whatever. Like, you know, I really enjoy Bruno. And then I literally, so I wasn't even going to admit this, but I cried when he said he ate with the family. I was like,
I cried too.
I was like, I used to do that when I was a kid. Like, I used to like, my family used to eat and I wouldn't eat, but I'd still eat at the same time. Like, I used to do things like that all the time. But that was because I had like social anxiety or whatever. But it was like, yeah, I completely related to him. He was my favorite character out of the entire time. I said, he did it for me. Like, if there was anybody in this movie that did it, he did it for me. And for him to live in the wall, like, it's, oh my God, like, it just, love Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno's story was very good. And because, yeah, you know, you say, you know, you have the family member who you're not supposed to talk about, and then he disappears. So, and again, you can trace everything back to Abuela, you know, on the wedding day. She wanted it to be perfect, you know. She's over here controlling Peppa's emotions and telling her, don't, you know, you better not storm today, you better not rain today. And Bruno's he's a quirky, weird guy. And you know, he said at the ending song too, he was like, I just saw that it wasn't a prophecy. I just saw you were sweating. I was making a joke with my sister, you know. And what happens is, you know, Peppa probably didn't think Bruno came in with a mischievous grin. But over time, the narrative shifts and the narrative changes and it exaggerates, because now you have like 10 years of him being gone to the point where you actually forget what he was actually like, or he was actually a decent person, and you let these other pressures manipulate your initial thought about Bruno. So,
it's just how they view his gift, because Abuela and all of them framed it to where, because he saw the future and he saw bad things happening, he was the reason why these bad things are happening. And that's not what it was.
Yeah.
No shade.
Listen,
that is very much what Latina, like, I guess you could say, like, mothers and grandmothers do all the time.
They do that all the time.
They try to control the situation, and then if they can't control it, if something happens, oh no, because it's like some superstition stuff.
Right.
Like you didn't move your shoe to the left like everybody else did at the same time. You're the problem child. Get out. Like
Right.
you see it all the time. Like
See, Bruno was basically making people. Well, that's the contrast. People weren't realizing their own faults.
Right.
They needed someone to blame. It was easier to blame Bruno because, like, he saw it, so it's his fault.
So when you say, Pepa, after a few years, now thinks that it's mischievous, I think that she did think that he came in with a mischievous grin because that's how Abuela framed it.
Right.
So she already thinks he's bad. I'm like, oh, here he comes,
Well, see, that's something else that could be explored. Was this like a continuous buildup throughout their childhood?
Right.
Was Abuela always blaming Bruno for things? And
Because he was telling, like, people would
He was just
ask him
telling
what's
the
gonna
truth.
happen,
'Cause
and
the
he
lady-
says, "Okay, this is what it is."
because like Bruno's tower, it said your future awaits. So people were supposed to climb the tower and he give him a vision. That lady who had the fish, what was she walking up there with like a dirty fish bowl with no fish snacks? And she said, "Hey, is my fish gonna die?" And he said,
Yes.
"Yeah, yeah."
Giga chat. Yes.
It's like,
eventually.
that's not his fault. Hey Bruno, am I gonna grow a gut? And like,
And just
you
like he
fool.
said,
right? That's not his fault. You-
it is his fault.
It's-
I lost all my hair because of it.
And it just goes back to people not really, wanting to know the truth, because you tell people the truth.
Ooh,
And
you are
Ooh,
you are
ooh,
absolutely right, because
Layer.
the biggest naysayer of the truth was Abuela.
I was just about to defend her. To
Mm.
say, I know I said what I
Nope.
said, but at the same time, Abuela's been through some shit.
She has, and again, that's why it's layered.
That's
Yeah,
why it's layered. She's not a
when Mi-
villain.
When Mirabel comes and says, there are cracks in the wall, and she comes and there are no cracks. Nothing is wrong. Everything is fine. The Encanto is safe. And then later that night, she's like talking to the candle because she knows something's wrong, but she doesn't want to admit it to anybody because, well, one, she's the matriarch, so
Mhm.
she has to be, and that's, gosh,
She has
the
to
more we
convince
talk-
herself.
right. Well, yeah, she discredits herself, but then it's like, that's layered because she has to be strong. She
Mhm.
has to be the strong one. She can't have any cracks because how's that look? If she cracks,
She's not trying
Well,
to hear it either.
right. But then
That's what it
that's
is.
when it becomes problematic because then you get the scene where she's like, Bruno left because of you.
Right.
I don't know why you didn't get a gift, but that's no excuse to hurt this family. Damn, I could quote this whole thing.
I
man.
know you can.
This is terrible.
but-
Go ahead, continue.
He's in the
Right.
quota, boy.
But yeah, I like that layer with Abuela and, her not talking to Bruno because of these expectations and stuff. And it also like sheds a light on her experience, all that she's been through, and being a little bit more forgiving for those like relationships and whatnot. Doesn't make what Abuela's doing okay, but you kind of see that she went through this. I think of like my mother and my grandmother. They both immigrated here from Ecuador, and they went through crazy stuff out there, and you're a little bit more forgiving. So on the other end, it's like, Mirabel explains to her, you're the reason we're here. You went through so much alone and whatnot, but you have to see us for who we are too, so it's both, it's double-sided, and I really like that. So
No, I agree. I like how, at least at that confrontation scene where it's Mirabel and Abuela having that moment when the cracks
I
were
cried.
finally showing. It was sad, and not only that, you got Luisa and Isabella in the background too. Kind of, they both had moments with Mirabel where she kind of wanted to, I guess, open their eyes to who they really were and unshoulder a lot of their burdens. But in the scene with Abuela, they kind of cower into
They
the
cowered back.
Mhm.
Yes.
but it makes sense though. It makes
Right.
like that figure is
Yeah.
now coming back of you know, that figure of authority, and it's kind of like putting them back in line in a way. And again, with that blame shifting, you know, she starts shifting all the blame onto Mirabel, saying Luisa started losing her strength because
After
of
you talked to her,
Right.
right?
Luisa lost her. I mean, not Luisa. Isabella lost her proposal and is a mess right now because of you.
Mhm.
I thought it was perfect. Which, I mean, speaking of Luisa, again, the layers are deep in this one. In her song, there's a lot of donkeys, right? And at first you think, oh, there's donkeys in her song because she works with donkeys. She's carrying a donkey right before the song starts. But then you start peeling back the layers and realize donkeys are pack animals. What do pack animals do?
Oh,
They
wow.
carry weight.
Wow.
The
layers.
I never
I
thought.
didn't
Oh
know
my!
that.
I'm taking that to TikTok. I have not seen that one on TikTok yet.
Yeah. He said, I'm
Credit
I'm
me,
making my
you
TikTok
bet.
right now.
I'm gonna credit the whole Yonkō Table. I got
Credit the young
I
people.
got this.
I don't even know how to work TikTok.
Oh, it's easy.
Oh,
I'll teach you.
easy.
It's easy. Right,
So
right,
sick.
right.
But yeah, you see like little things like that. You see them in throughout their songs, and I don't know. I like all of them. I mean, did we talk about Isabella a little bit? Kind of. She's like
A
the
little
perfect
bit.
girl,
A
the perfect
little
one.
bit.
Yeah.
What else?
Isabella just being like
The perfect.
the perfect one.
The perfect
you
one.
know, and she has to get married and she has to do these things, and you know, and they kind of reveal that pressure when she's like, I'm only doing it for the family.
Right.
Like,
She never
you
wanted to
know,
marry
she
the
never
dude.
wanted to marry the dude.
Right. And no one asked her say. They're like, make roses. They never be
Right.
like, Isabella, do you want to make a cactus today? You want to make a jacaranda
And
today?
it's just that pressure to marriage too in Latino communities. I'm supposed to be married with a kid right now, like at my age. Okay.
Yeah, literally.
That's
you
the
know,
standard, yeah.
that's the standard, but
expectation.
you know, I still get it from my mom every Christmas, like, so when do you plan to? I'm like,
Like your business
Relax.
box.
relax. And yeah, so I liked that they included that marriage piece to Isabella's character.
Yeah. Definitely. And I definitely like, you know, I don't know. It's not like she blame shifts, but like a lot of her insecurities she puts on Mirabel, you know,
Mhm.
and it's that deflection. And it's not until they have their, you know, hugging moment does she realize that, you know, oh, her sister was always supportive of her, you know, and again, that's what's really good about Mirabel's character too, as opposed to Abuela. Well, Mirabel's just the guide. She guides everybody to where they should be versus the expectation of what they should be, or like where they want to be. She takes in their input,
Mhm.
and I really like that for Mirabel's character, especially in that scene too, because you know.
And I think out of the sisters, Isabella has the like most pressure to never mess up.
Yes.
You know, like
Uh-huh.
she has
Right.
to do everything perfect. Luisa, kind of the same, but Mirabel, they're just expecting her to mess up. But Luisa, I feel, has less pressure than Isabella.
You think Luisa has less
Oh,
pressure?
no. Oh
She
my
has a whole
God.
song.
Her song
Yeah,
is called
surface
Surface
pressure.
Pressure.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, wait.
But I just feel that Isabella just can't do anything wrong.
Right.
She has
She has to be the
follow-
model daughter.
She has to be the model daughter. She already, you know, is going to take the step into marriage. So now nothing can go wrong after that, you know?
So you know what's funny?
Right.
The more you talk about, I think I associate with Luisa a lot because Luisa's a middle child. You know, Luisa doesn't say what's going wrong with her. She shoulders the burden,
Mhm.
and you know, the older sibling has to always be the perfect one, and the younger sibling has room to, maneuver through life. Granted, in this
That's
case.
perspective.
Because I'm the youngest.
Oh,
and
oh no,
child.
but no,
Let's
no,
ask
because
other-
but you're the youngest though. But you're not a middle child. I'm just saying,
Oh.
as far as a middle child's perspective, I get why Louisa she's not forthcoming about she's carrying too much and she doesn't show much emotion. She just does it and go.
Mhm.
As I've done that, I've been through that, I've seen that full-fledged, and that's
you're
why
projecting, because I feel like that's not it.
I am not projecting.
I'm just
I
gonna
bet
say
you
it.
many middle children can. Are you a middle child?
I'm the oldest. Out of
There you go.
4.
You don't
And
get.
no,
you
no, 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 no,
don't
no,
get
no,
us.
No.
You don't
I know,
get
the
us.
middle child does not get it that damn hard.
No,
I'll tell you
okay.
that.
No, I'm not saying they get it hard. See, that's what you're missing. I'm not saying they get it hard, but whatever they go through, they don't open up about it because the parents are focusing on the perfection of the eldest child. And again, a good. No, okay, listen. You could fine, whatever. You're a middle child. You know exactly.
no.
It's
Okay, I'm a middle child on my like mom and stepdad side. So like my stepsister, she's older than me, but my younger stepsister is younger than me. So I'm the middle child. I don't think I carry any burden. I don't know. I don't like shoulder anything that hard. I think being the oldest on my dad's side, I definitely do. I definitely have to.
You're missing
Everything you said. I definitely have to do.
It's not about what she's shouldering or burdening. It's the fact that she keeps it to herself because she knows the eldest has her issues and the youngest is going through that. That is what it.
She was literally probably the most emotional because she was so like apparent, like I'm weak.
Because she was because that's the whole point. That's the whole point. She didn't do that until Mirabel had that conversation with her. Like she was just walking everything off. She was holding it in, and like surface pressure, it popped finally. And that's why she broke down emotionally. It's not about what you're carrying. It's about if you're going through anything, you're not sharing it. That was the problem. Because she wanted to be fine for the family so they didn't have one more thing to worry about. That's her whole
would apply to Isabella though. I think the same kind of applies to her.
It's different, but no, Isabella, her just whole, like we said, it was perfection and just you couldn't do what you want.
Mhm.
Luisa's more about she can't share how she feels. Isabella just couldn't do what she wanted. But if you want to discredit how I feel, by all means, go ahead. My perspective.
I have a question though. So Disney does this all the time. How do y'all feel about Isabella being like the beauty standard in the movie?
Oh, well, she was darker skinned than her sisters,
but her hair was straight as it could be.
It was.
So I feel like
That was-
even her gift being having flowers and stuff, and her room being the prettiest, and her being the original one to get married even though she doesn't want to. She's like, I don't really want him. Like I don't want to do it. But I like I guess
even her type of dress she was wearing. I don't know what you call that type of dress.
I did notice that. I thought that was one of the first things I noticed was she was like the perfect one. I was like, but her hair's straight. Like,
well,
I was like, what?
Maybe that's why.
Yes, same.
I was like, why is her hair so straight?
But that's the thing. Straight hair is, and again, I don't know about Colombian culture, but straight hair is more deemed perfected hair,
right?
Oh, okay.
Versus unkept, unkept and curly, because curls just do whatever they want.
Which I mean, if we do get a sequel series, maybe they'll might
show her natural hair.
Exactly. So yeah, because we don't know what standards that Isabella had that were shaped by her grandma wanting her to be the perfect child, because you can see that she doesn't want to be whatever she was masking the entire movie.
I think it would have been cool to see at the end of the movie with her natural hair.
I think that's where it was heading. That's where it was heading in the song, when it was kind of
Like
getting
she's like messy, but I'm like, your hair's still straight.
it was getting a little more frizzled, but change won't happen overnight. So
It won't.
Right.
You have to rebuild, just like how they rebuilt the casita.
foundation, right?
Exactly.
Right. Actually, I
Um,
really like that song for that thematic element. This is our home. I like the new foundation. They had to break it down to build it back up, and that's like everything
Exactly.
in life, which we need to break down. Let me not get into politics, but
Oh, and you kind
Ooh.
of see. Oh, this is kind of a little bit off topic, but that scene. Now that you just said the foundation, I thought of the casita. That scene where she's trying to get the candle. How when everybody starts losing their powers, they don't know how to get up there, and
Yeah.
Mirabel's the only one that knows because she doesn't have any power, so she already can maneuver and stuff. Camilo tries to like shapeshift, and
Right.
Isabella tries to use her flowers to grab it, and
Well, and that's another thing too, to like Kame Chris's point. She does have a better relationship with the house.
Yep.
If you actually go back and watch that scene, the house tries to get everybody out of the house except
For
her,
Mirabel. Mhm.
despite Isabella and Camilo trying to get the candle too. The house only helps her get up there.
Most of the time, the house is only like really talking to her.
It responds
Like,
to two people, her
Yeah.
and Abuela. Because like when Abuela's like, "Oh, Mirabel, you're not listening? Here, let me help you." And the house moves her chair towards Abuela.
So yeah.
Yeah, they all, which again, it's more of like a passing of the torch. The house says you're gonna be the new matriarch.
Mhm.
You're gonna take care and keep everybody in check. And really, that's also really good in that scene too, because she's like, "You're not listening. Get closer to me, so you can learn hands on right up front."
Yeah, I think that's, and her just being the youngest again with the age thing, but
Mhm.
her being the youngest, she's kind of seen everything from a different perspective because Pepa and then Luisa and Isabella kind of just grew up with that, but she's kind of the youngest, so she's seeing everything happen. She's like, wait, this is not okay, this is not right. And I think that's a very true thing for the youngest, because I'm the youngest and I'm like, I'm the one who's kind of trying to bring everybody back together and let's be a little bit more forgiving and whatnot. So it's that piece of it too.
No, totally agree. I guess the last bit, because we kind of talked about the music already.
We did.
What I would ask
You can really get into it though.
was well, okay, no, we can because
Fine, let's do this.
I was gonna start off with what was like one song that no matter how many times you listen to it, you just couldn't get into it. For me, it was the first song. The
Family
Madri-
Madrigal.
I couldn't get into it.
Okay.
I'm not a fan.
That's
I'm not
fine.
a fan.
Louis
I've listened to it so many times that I could see the moments where I'm like, okay, I like this part, but I just can't. I can't.
Mine was
Kame Chris, don't say the whole album. Don't say the entire thing. Pick one that you just cannot stand. You just can't. It's just terrible.
No, honestly, this is okay. So I'm not going to say all of them because there are two songs that I did like, but most of them, they all play the same thing, and this is what irritated me about the movie. Imagine us just talking right now. This music starts playing, and now we're singing, and we're just, and there's no real good melody. There's no there's no type of harmonies until you don't know it's a song. If there was no music playing, you would have never knew it was a song. If there was no beat.
But isn't that the transition part?
They transition terribly. It's like we're talking and then all of a sudden a song is playing and now we're in a song.
That is a
do it in
musical.
every
What are you
movie.
Wait. When I say that, I'm saying, oh, we're all just talking and now we're in a song. But in a musical, there's a cue point to boom, this is where the song starts. I know it started here. I was so I guess you could say, confused. I was like, wait, are we listening to a song right now? Like the first song, literally, I was like, wait, is this serious? And the lyrics, I like, you know, the lyrics are good. I like the lyrics on paper. On paper, the lyrics are good, but musically, it just does not hit like any. And I'm only saying it's bad. Like if this was the only Disney movie, maybe I would have been like, okay, it was okay. But because Disney does have a good reputation of doing music really well, the other movies that they've had have every single movie, you know, when the song is on, you know that, you know, they're singing, and even the first watch, it's catchy. Like as a kid, I don't think I would have understood that like what they were saying or like what was going on until I watched it multiple times. But as a kid watching like I don't know, like Lion King, I understood Lion King, boom boom, every song, like it's you know that it started, and then the songs rhyme. Why are these songs not
grow? Disney's
Break
growing.
the mold.
No. Like music is music. You cannot mess up music. Like you cannot. Like it's like I listened to the soundtrack and I said the soundtrack didn't sound bad by itself, but while watching the movie, it sounds like I'm sorry, it's like shit. It's really bad. It's like really
God, man.
You were supposed to name one song that you couldn't play.
One. You have to pick one.
I would say, but it's hard because I'm going to say the same thing for like, okay, I guess like the first song I really didn't like. Like I have to say, like with AJ, I really did not like that song. But I would have to say the same thing for all the other songs I did like because of how we were like put into it. I'm like, damn, I kind of like the only song I would say I really liked was the one with Isabella and Mirabel. That was like one of my favorite ones. But that was because there was such a good transition to it. I was like, oh, this is like, okay, I get it. Like, this is a cute little song. But every other one, I'm like, I'd rather just like watch this movie, like listen to the story's so good. I'd rather just watch the story than listen to the song. Like, I don't know if you guys ever watch probably not, but like a Tyler Perry play. Like the actual plays, not like his movie.
Not the plays, no.
Oh no. So like in his plays, everybody does this where they skip the song because the songs they drag, and it's just like they come out of nowhere, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like these are the longest songs of life, and it just doesn't, because the story's so good, you don't care about the song. And I felt like that's what it felt like with this. I was like, damn, this is like a musical, but I don't care about music.
So
that bothered me.
To get your point, you think the songs interrupt the flow versus emphasizes the flow. It doesn't emphasize the flow of the story.
Yes, it's not fluid enough. Like
okay,
it doesn't like continue on. Like it's very choppy. Like I think I mentioned it like in the group chat. I was like, it's just very choppy and like very off-putting. The songs, like I just didn't enjoy it.
Gonna name your song? Go.
Huh? No, I was gonna let you go. Huh? You gonna let him badmouth this movie?
Oh, I'm gonna wait till.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine. I'll keep it brief. I'll keep it brief. I already said my initial watch, I wasn't really a fan of the music. That's because I'm a Lin fan, so my Lin expectations were not met. I'm Abuela. That's Mirabel. You suck, Lin. On my initial watch, and then on my second watch, Lin opened my eyes to the lyricism of these songs, and I'm like, damn, I'm an idiot. Sorry, Mirabel, you're right. These lyrics are good. These songs are good. Now I will say, and again, this is kind of like my Lin expectation thing. I thought he did a really good job incorporating the sounds of Colombia in the songs. However, no, I'm stopping right there because I'm not gonna talk about things I don't know about. But I don't think this is his most consistent work, in which I did actually no, I take that back. I think he does a really good job embedding the traditional sounds and culture within these songs, and I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm not gonna talk about things I don't know about. With that said, though, I understand why some people don't vibe with the songs. Luisa's song is very weird as far as the scene itself. It's a whole music video, and again, I don't even know what time period this movie takes place, but that song doesn't help me figure it out either because there's a Titanic reference.
Yeah,
and-
that was like, oh wow.
Right, the donkeys are hip hop dancing. So I mean, it's a hip hop song too. So and then like the Cerberus, whatever, in the circ, whatever. It's weird. But lyric wise, that song is great. I think all the songs have really good lyrics. I would say probably the one song that I'm like don't necessarily care for too much is her I Want song, the Waiting for a Miracle song. And but with that said, I do appreciate the music in that song over the lyrics. I didn't find those lyrics too stimulating. And I guess that's really what's going to be for me is which lyrics really move me. Like you said, the Isabella song is really good too. So, and I'm not going to downplay Surface Pressure. That scene is weird, but those lyrics are great. But my favorite song is
We Already Know.
We Don't Talk About Bruno. And I just think that, and when you think about Disney movies of the past, as far as the ensemble number goes, where, you know, multiple characters have a part and, you know, multiple characters get some shine. A lot of Disney movies have like 3 people in the entire movie singing. And I'm like, this is boring. I like when everybody gets to sing. It's cool. And it all comes together into this giant gravitas and this, climax. And that's a very Lin thing too, where everybody's singing their individual parts. And then they all just kind of blend together. Not a word about Bruno. Like, you know, at the very end. I love it. I love that song. And one more thing about the music too, and I like that he does this. You know, Kame Chris said a lot of songs don't have like a straight on melody. That's because the characters themselves have a melody. In the ending song, that's a good example of you hear everybody's individual melody. Like, for example, Luisa is the one, her melody goes, her quintessential melody is like, give it to your sister is older. At the very end song, she says, when they're planting together, she's like, I need a little help. How about some fertilizer? That's her melody. He does this thing where he gives characters their own melody and he incorporates those melodies into songs later on. Another example is Isabella's he told me that the life of my dreams. At the end
Yes.
song, she goes something like I don't know.
You've seen it 6 times. You better remember.
I don't know the lyrics to the ending song, so I wish I did to further explain it. But each character has a melody that they continuously sing throughout the movie, and that's very genius writing when it comes to writing music to where those multiple melodies can fit multiple songs. It's very cool, and I appreciate that a lot. We don't talk about Bruno. I'm done.
That's okay. Captain Falcon has entered the chat. Go on.
I've entered the chat. I don't like Surface Pressure.
All right, leave. Go. Go.
You're done.
We
I
had enough.
think that's the only one that I can't get into that song. Whenever it comes on, I'm like, But I loved every other song, and it's the details for me. It's the background music. In Colombia, vallenato is like the main thing in Colombia. It's like a very traditional Colombian type of music. You could hear the accordions in every song. Like, if you just listen to every song, you could hear it in the back. I like the choice of having Carlos Vives be the person to sing that Colombia.
That's the forgotten song. I always actually forget about that song.
The
Wait, which part is that?
Encanto, the last song.
Well, they play it at the end and they play it during Antonio's party.
'Cause-
I forget the lyrics.
It's Colombia Encanto.
Encanto.
Okay.
Encanto.
His
okay,
voice
okay.
is just so, every time I hear his voice, I think Colombia. So I think that Isabella's song has a very like Latin rock feel to it, and I appreciated that because it gave, you know, different, it didn't give you one genre of Colombian music. It incorporated vallenato, which I was expecting going into the film. I was like, you know, I hope these songs are not just Disney songs, and he actually puts in, you know, Colombian influences in it, which he did. And Isabella's song has the Latin rock. I'm trying to think of the other song.
Dos Oruguitas.
Dos Oruguitas.
That's a
He's
beautiful
amazing.
song.
That is
I
my
love that
favorite song of the film. Lyrics, music, everything about that song. The story of two butterflies that have to you know, grow apart to come back together. Like, oh my gosh. And then they play it during the scene where she's hugging Abuela. Like, oh my goodness. I liked that. I liked I had one more song that it had like an influence.
Family Madrigal. Waiting for a Miracle.
Oh, we don't talk about Bruno. Gives you that, because a lot of people like forget that Colombia has a lot of salsa, and salsa is usually like, you know, associated with the islands, Cuba, Puerto Rico, you know, and you know that those countries, but salsa is very much prominent in Colombia, and they have their own like style of dancing salsa. Felix starts dancing salsa with his wife and does the little spins and stuff. So I really liked how he incorporated salsa, vallenato, Latin rock, like just different genres, but still keeping it, you know, within the culture. And I like the little touches of the accordion in the back, the lyrics to the songs. I love them. I love the songs.
So, and
I like, one more point, sorry. I like that Mirabel is not like a fantastic singer.
Mm-hmm.
I like that point because honestly, I didn't want to walk into this movie and think that Mirabel's like a Disney princess, like, and just you know, like that type of
Fiona stuff.
Right.
That was actually pretty solid.
But you get my point. I didn't want her to be super Disney princessy, and she's not. She doesn't sing like super, you know, you don't have like these great belts of, you know, and I think that was the point, is that she's an ordinary girl. She's the first Disney princess with glasses.
I don't think they're calling her a princess.
I don't know if she is a princess.
She's not a princess,
but she is the first protagonist.
Protagonist.
Well,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
female
female protagonist with glasses.
With glasses.
Right.
She's just an ordinary girl. I like that they didn't, you know, overdo it with her singing. And yeah, that's how I feel about the music. I really like all the influences that Lin, and when I was hearing I watched an interview that Lin did, he was talking about how he just stayed in Colombia and just, you know,
right,
learned about the song, the music there and whatnot, and tried to incorporate all of that within the songs. And I think he did a great job doing that.
Oh, and real quick, since you mentioned that he went to Colombia, the directors too went to Colombia. They all did like a little trip, and the creative team, I think they did a really good job nailing the look and authenticity of
Yeah, it looks great.
Colombia. Like,
yeah,
the apparel, the designs of the buildings.
Her Mirabel's dress, the details, the satchel is such like a thing, because Ecuador, Colombia, and Venezuela are all like next to each other, so her like dress is very similar to Ecuador's like traditional dressing, and I have one of those satchels with the stitching.
Isn't it right
It's
over
in my room.
They do that in Peru. They do that in Peru.
In Peru too. They do it in Peru too. Yeah, and when I saw the little satchel, I was like, let me go get mine.
Okay, so I'll say, well, you know what? After the movie ended, I said, because I was like, I didn't like the music, but then I was like, maybe. And now that when you're saying the titles of the songs, and I'm like, actually, this is probably why. I thought that the movie probably could be better in Spanish. Me personally, only because, like you said, like the music, very like I can hear Colombia in the music, like for sure. But I don't hear English when I hear Colombia. Like
I think
that's
that
the
may,
problem.
and I
Like-
think that's why I like Dos Oruguitas the best, because it's in
Yes, I
Spanish.
don't understand it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that wasn't a bad song. Okay, that wasn't a bad song, but still choppy. Like anytime you like,
Oh,
no,
what
but
is it?
listen, when I
There's
say
no
choppy,
winning.
but when I say choppy, I'm saying like when you're hearing like it's like when you hear like a reggaeton song, right? And you get like an English rapper in it. You're like, "Ooh, where'd that come from?" Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's always a little unsettling, like when it's like a bit of a clash. But I have another point too. When we were kids, or like before we got Disney Plus and like instant access to movies so quickly after its release, we watched the movie one time and we went home and we had to go buy another movie ticket to see it again. And then we'll have to wait for it to go on DVD now GrandMasterHoop. If this was back in the day and you went in a movie theater and you're a critic, you watched it one time, like would you not say that your first critique would be the, I would say, official one? Because that's how I felt. That's how I always feel with movies.
That's how all critics have to be, is that that first review or critique. Well, that's your first one. You better really think about carefully what you say in that first critique. So, I mean, if I'm being a critic, what you been call it, my first review would not be necessarily the best review. However, after a gestation period, on the VHS release, I would have been like, oh, this has got a lot of replay value, rewind value. So,
Listen,
so
on that point, I think some movies have that staying power, because this is kind of off topic. Spider-Man 1, right? Sam Raimi's
Always bringing in
listen.
let it be.
Let it be. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1, right, was not well received by critics when it initially came out. It was like in the low 60s, right?
No,
But-
it was a little higher than that.
No, it was in the 60% on like Rotten Tomatoes. Look it up on the critic side.
Fine.
But over time, and you can see it in the audience score mostly, it's been like after multiple watches, people like the movie. And I think with a movie like Encanto, because I've heard it with a lot of people too. It's not just Grandmaster. A lot of people that I've talked to on the movie, if they didn't jive with it the first time, they say that the more they watched it, they start to appreciate it, because they kind of started listening to more of the lyrics and the story and the song and the different themes going on. So even though that initial review, you could say it might be your your initial reaction or what you thought of the film in the beginning, but I think you should also take into account, what do you still think of it after you've seen it a couple times? Like, does your opinion still remain the same? Because then that means your initial watch, it was the accurate one, because your opinion hasn't changed on the movie. But if it changes after watches, I still think that that's a valid opinion on the film as well, because clearly you're seeing things from a different perspective on those different watches, or you're appreciating different parts of the movie, whether it's the music, the characters, the story. So I understand why Grandmaster might have liked the movie more with multiple watches. 6 might be a little too much.
And I mean, I think also, like, on my first watch, I connected with it like instantly.
Mine was first
because-
watch too. Mine was first
right
watch.
Instantly, because I can relate to Abuela and trying to be perfect, and these little instances, and I'm over here telling Ethan like, oh my gosh,
My name's
that's so
GrandMasterHoop.
true. Oh, sorry.
I slipped too. It's fine. I slipped.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Like the bochinche and families are like that and whatever.
Oh my god.
And Dolores, like, you know, when she knows and she's like at the table, that scene is
that
so
was the
funny
funniest
to me.
scene, right?
Like, you
That
know,
was
she's like, don't tell anybody. And
she's
she's like,
It's there. I love that scene. I love
it
that
was
scene.
just like immediately connected to it. My second watch, it was more, I just started noticing more little details that I just appreciated more. But I would say that it makes sense that you connected with it after multiple watches, because you don't necessarily relate to it as I do.
You don't know.
I
You
relate to
don't know.
Louisa.
Yeah,
No, the middle child, drop it.
Enough. I will come back with so much force behind it. I'm going to Twitter and TikTok. I'm going to rally my middle child for Louisa. All right, just you wait.
Oh my God.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I would say, like, because I think because, you know, we're movie going people. Well, I'm going to be honest. I'm not a person to watch something twice. The older I get, the more it's not going to happen. Because first of all, there's so much that to watch every day, including with anime. Like, I still have to catch up on some stuff myself. Like, I haven't watched Fire Force. Like, there's so many things that I've been wanting to watch. As an adult, I'm not watching this movie more than like 2 times. I'm sorry. Like, this is not going to happen. Like, Moana, I saw 2 times, and that was 2 times too many, in my opinion. So I think when we talking about like, if we're repeatedly watching something, it must be that good for you, I guess. But for me, if I'm repeating watching anything, I don't know what there is that I watch more than 1 time nowadays. Like, it's just not realistic. And even if it's relative, like, I'll say, okay, I've seen The Princess and the Frog maybe like 3-4 times. 4 times, probably made falling asleep the 4th time. So don't look at me like that.
Yeah.
but my
Interesting.
but my initial watch, I had my criticism, even though I related to it because on my mom's side, they're Creole. So like, I relate to, like, you know, the whole Louisiana theme and all of it. Like, I related to it, but at the same time, the frog. Why are we frogs? Like, you know, like my initial watch, I already had my criticisms, but because I have nieces and I have, little people around me, of course I've watched it maybe like 2 other times. But even then, it still didn't, I think only because it was so relative to who I was that I watched it. But at the same time, like this movie, it's not completely relative in a sense that I didn't like, I wasn't around like my Colombian side too much. But at the same time, I understood, like, this was a Latin American movie all day long. It did not matter if you were Colombian or what. So this is everybody's abuela. This is everybody's primos. This is everybody's everything. So like, it made so much sense, I guess, to a lot of other people. But it's just because the music like caught me off guard so hard that I just couldn't really get into it, that deep. As far as like, oh, like this is such a good movie. It just, the music cut off, but I was like, this is funny only because we haven't seen like a real Latino household, like act and like really have like a Disney role. Like, this was a real house. Like, this was like, I would say, like, there's a lot of scenes I was like, damn, like, honestly, this is like everybody's house I've ever been to. That like everybody's house I've ever been to. And it was just, I guess that it was relative in that sense. But because if it's a musical, the music has got to be on point. And because the music was so choppy to me, it just didn't saturate enough. It really just did. And I think that's what made me disappointed, that all of y'all were like in the group chat, like, oh, it's such a good movie, yada, yada, yada. I was like, all right, let me sit my ass down and watch it. I watched it and I was like, damn, they overhyped it maybe. Maybe it was a little bit too overhyped. Maybe this was not the, maybe because people are so relative to it. And I actually I've seen a lot of other opinions on Twitter that they felt the same way I did, but the people that it came from did not relate to the movie. So I think it's just, as far as like how you connect to the movie is how it's gonna like affect you. But I would say, like, if you're looking at from a really critical standpoint, it's a very cute movie, but the music it lacked. And I think maybe I said maybe I should watch it in Spanish. Maybe it's a whole different movie in Spanish. I have not done that.
That'll be an interesting watch.
Yeah. I was like, maybe I need to watch that. Like, it'd be a completely different story for me, and I may have a completely different opinion. Just tell you, watch it in Spanish. If you don't know Spanish, watch it with subtitles. Like, you know, like maybe I just have to watch it again. But it just didn't. It just like felt interruptive. Like, it just, I don't know, something about it in like English maybe it just didn't flow right for me. So the music was a bust. Was a complete bust.
Well, with that being said, you know, do we want more movies like this in the terms of like being culturally themed? You know, because I think what was the last was it Moana? The last no, it wasn't, right?
No. Oh, well, there was Frozen 2.
Oh, no, it was Frozen 2. It was Frozen 2,
and then before Frozen 2, probably Moana, right?
Okay. So, do we want to see Disney head more towards in this direction with its musicals? Not in the sense, you know, how Kame Chris mentioned, like with the songs like not flowing, but like in terms of like just the theme of the story and the characters and where it takes place. Do we want to see more movies like this, or do we expect them to go back to the Disney formula, have the princess singing the high key notes? Like, what do you guys think? I kind of like, I mean, I really like this movie. I was not expecting it. I thought this was a Pixar movie. And the reason why I thought it was a Pixar movie initially was because it didn't seem like a Disney film to me. Just because of the story, the location, everything. Pixar tries to hit those areas more so than Disney. But then I remembered, wait, Pixar doesn't do musicals though. That's Disney. And then I realized, wait, this is a Disney movie, but at the same time, it's not following the formula that they usually backtrack to. So I'm all for more movies like this. Whether they're the same culturally, I'm indifferent to it, but like, I guess I'm fine with them trying new things. I could tell that this was them trying to do something different, and I appreciate the effort. I think they succeeded in the effort more so than how they failed in some areas. But what do you guys think in terms of like what you expect moving forward after seeing this movie?
No, I would say I would love to see more movies that tell different parts of being a child, like, because it's for children. So I would love to see more movies talk about like different, like there's so many different types of kids. Like, you have kids that have ADHD, you have kids that like have problems at home, but like, you know, have to go to school, and like they actually like, you know, so as a kid, some kids are really mature and, you know, can go and put on face, you know, and like not bring problems to school, you know, like there's so many different like avenues Disney could go with like depicting different types of childhoods, you know, like fatherless children, or like motherless children, or like children that foster care, and like, you know, like it doesn't have to be serious all the time, you know, it could be like something light, like, oh, someone doesn't like to go like to this place or whatnot, you know. There's so many different routes they could go and cultures they could use to take those routes, that I think this is as much as I didn't care for it, I think this is a good start to like getting out of the princess vibe and damsel in distress type of shit that they always do. Like, well, everybody's tired of seeing that, but like I think this is a good foot forward to like going somewhere. Like, maybe we can get like you know, a story in like Alaska or something, where like it's always night, and like, you know, you got some mystical, you know, the northern lights and stuff. Like they could go so many places.
Sounds like Brother Bear.
Yeah, true. But we're not. But let's not do.
Wait, but Brother Bear wasn't a musical, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Was it?
Yes, Phil Collins.
Oh, that's right. He was.
Damn,
oh wow,
Phil Collins.
Two, right?
2, yeah, number 2.
Yeah, but I would say like not animals though. I don't.
Yes. I hear you on that.
Actually, I do want Disney to stray away from doing animal depictions. I don't like that. I've never liked it. They never get it right, in my opinion. They always give certain people different types of animals, and I think it's bullshit. But I would like to see like kids relate to what they look at in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like, Captain Falcon here, like literally she literally related to this movie immediately.
Yeah.
Like with the satchel, with the abuela, with the dress, with the music, with like la casita, like everything, like everything is relatable. And I think they could go that route in so many different ways without even showing, like, dealing with animals. Like, we are not animals. Like, we do not have to go that way anymore. I think we can so stray away and be relative, like do a cookie cutter suburban like lifestyle. Like that would set it off. Everybody would relate to that. So, it just, they just have to, I guess, like keep up with this momentum that they have of going and being like very specific on who their target audience is with certain movies. I think if they have a collective of that, Disney alone, people would look at Disney differently than just like, oh, that movie sucked. I didn't like that movie. I like that movie. I like Frozen. I want to be Pocahontas. Like, like instead, like there's so like I can be someone that's not so beautiful and so fantasized and so like perfect all the time, and like Sleeping Beauty and all this other, like like it could be somebody like Mirabelle with glasses, quirky, like the people don't like her so much, like well, not people don't like her, but like people don't pay attention to the youngest, and like you see we have like these whole perspective being the middle child and stuff. Like this is a whole different conversation until we aside from like talking about every other movie and like I would like to be a princess because like I want to be like stuck in like I want to be saved, and like we don't want that anymore. Like we're going past that even as a society too. We're like even having deeper conversations in the world, period. Even kids are having deeper conversations now. So I think Disney this is a good foot forward and getting to the real drama of life, as you could say.
Okay.
You're gonna be the closer.
Oh, you want to close?
No, you got it. I want you to close. Yeah, no, I definitely want them to do more culturally based films, and like Kame Chris just said, like the mirror image, like I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing the traditional thing. Yeah, throwing a Disney princess movie in there, throwing a like an animal based one, but I think as far as an audience goes and Disney fandom goes, we've seen those things. I think the 2010s was a really good example of films that really started kind of breaking the mold for Disney. Wreck-It Ralph was different. Big Hero 6 was different. Moana tapped into a different culture. Zootopia started dealing with themes of like bigotry and like prejudice and racism. Those are the types of things I want to see. And when it comes to representation too, you see, yeah, Princess and the Frog, it's not it for me for that Soul Frog bit purpose. Soul is not it for me because they butchered that too when they had Tina Fey portray Jamie Foxx's character throughout the movie. But also it was the perspective of a man. I mean, I guess I'm a man now, given age, but these are kid movies. I want children to be able to see themselves in these movies, be able to relate and be able to, look at things through a different lens. Yeah, they don't have to be saturated in tragedy or, like these harder topics. They could just be more joyous things. Like kids do have joyful moments in their lives, but I don't think they should shy away from the more serious discussions. And yeah, I would like to see moving forward. I mean, it'd be impossible to hit every ethnic group out there, and but there are stories in these cultures and traditions that can be shared for a lot more people. And that's what I want to see. When I go see a movie or any movie, I want to be introduced to something new. I like learning new things. I like learning about new cultures. I like seeing people be able to relate to things. I don't have to relate to every single thing I see on screen. If one person really relates and I see the joy in their eye, that's really cool to see. And I like that. And I could still enjoy the movie just fine. I don't need my representation always reflected back at me, you know? So yeah, I'm here for breaking the mold. I'm here for Encanto. And I'm here for, you know, getting people, the co-director, one of the co-directors, she is Colombian. So the lead directors they did Tangled, Zootopia, well, those two, I know those two for sure, and they did this movie, but they brought on a female co-director who was Colombian, who gave plenty insight, I'm sure, into making this movie what it is. So I also need people of color to come represent too, you know. Don't like tell your stories, you know. I need y'all to step up. We can't complain, you know, if we don't step up, you know. So that's how I see it. I'm for it. I'm here.
I like the route that Disney this is like a start. I like how they picked a country and focused on that one country and didn't try to do too much. And I think they can continue doing that with other cultures so that these kids kind of learn that there's differences. And when people say they're from a certain place and another person says they're from another place, there's differences. They're not the same thing. And I really like just breaking the mold. I like that she's not a princess. I like that she's not the whole singing portion of it. I like that Disney is doing something different, because I like the whole Disney thing, but it's gonna get old if you follow the same formula, you know. They're gonna start repeating, and it's gonna start seeming like movies in the past. So I'm here for Encanto. I like that most of the characters were also voiced by Colombian people. Pepa is this like a really famous Colombian actress that I love. Like I watched a couple of her you know, movies and works that she's done. But I really like that he paid attention to that too, is that if you focus on a culture and you want people to, you know, voice these people, he really picked people that represent that culture. Yeah, I like the way that Disney is going, and I like the theme, and I think Disney's going in a really good direction. And representation of skin tones was like
that was on
great
point
in this movie. Oh yeah, that's what I remembered. Okay, that was just a small little thing, small little detail. I don't know if AJ relates, but did you see this?
Oh, I know, we know that everybody did this in high school. Remember?
Wait, who?
The finger snapping.
Oh my gosh, I didn't notice it until the second time I watched it. Yes.
Wait, who did it? Who did it?
Camilo did it when Antonio touched his doorknob.
And I was like,
he was like,
oh.
Okay, they know. I think they know my name. I don't know.
Okay. I know. I was like, oh my gosh, did you see that? Rewind it. And I just watched him do the thing. And I was like, oh, wow. Just little details like that. It just means so much for somebody that connects with that culture and whatnot. I still think Shakira. Where's Shakira? Where is Shakira?
Why didn't she voice someone?
Why didn't she voice someone?
Because she was in Zootopia.
She done a song.
It's female led. It's female led. She's Colombian.
She was in Zootopia. She did her one Disney movie already. She blew it. She blew it.
They could have had her do a song or something.
Last thing on layers. What's the dad's name of Mirabel? The dad. Agustin. On his design, he wears something that represents each of his daughters. So he has the flower for Isabel, and he has socks that represent both Luisa and Maribel. I think one of the socks, it shows like a dumbbell for weightlifting.
I didn't know.
I don't remember what Mirabel's was, but it was something that represented her. It was something like really obscure.
I gotta go watch it a seventh time now.
Seventh time, you gotta look back. There's I mean, I swear, you look for it, you're gonna find it. But no, that's I think we can all agree we have different perspectives on the film, but overall we think that it's a good direction that Disney is going in. You know, break the mold, don't have to do the same Disney formula over and over again. We've been kind of seeing them do it also in their Marvel movies too. So I think there's something in their upper management that they probably realize that their formula is getting stagnant.
The diversity and inclusion team.
Diverse.
They're hard at work.
they're at all those board meetings. So, and hey, I'm all for it. Go ahead, keep doing it. So far they've hit it out of the park in terms of, like, my opinion. One of the better movies last year, at least in terms of Marvel, was Shang-Chi, and that was a Chinese-led cast. So perfect. I like it. So keep at it, Disney. We like what you're doing for the most part. Some may disagree. But yeah, I would say that wraps up our thoughts on Encanto with the Yonkō Table. Let us know what you all think in the comments below. Did you relate to the movie in any way? Who is your favorite character? Do you disagree with Kame Chris and his assessment of the song?
Don't do that.
Well, what did you think overall? Let us know wherever you're listening to us. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram. If you got social media, you'll find us. Don't worry, and share us around and let us know your thoughts. But with that, we're closing out this episode of the Yonkō Table. I'm your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney, fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop, Supernova Captian Falcon, and Supernova Kame Chris. Closing out. Take care, everyone.